Hey, what's up, guys? I'm going to make a video now that I haven't really heard too many people talk about. I've heard some influencers that have to do with steroids touch upon a little bit, but it's something that I think is of great importance. And I like to touch on these issues topics that, I think are important, that are involved with steroids that, we should bring attention to, and this is one of them. Okay? So I'll get right to it, which is the possibility that steroid use can elicit more risk-taking behavior. Okay? So that's my kind of thesis here. So first of all, you have to define what is risk-taking behavior, and that's very important because taking risks can be a beneficial thing. Can be very beneficial. Take a risk, like in business, to go out on a limb, to say, even when it comes down to mating and things, like take a risk to ask a girl out and things, you might get denied, you might get shot down. And guys with higher testosterone, I think, take risks like that, especially with mating behavior, more. But it might also be things like extreme sports or riding motorcycles or doing dangerous activities as well, which can be potentially taking risks that causes negative consequences too. And that could be in relationships as well, cheating or, I think we all know, we can all go there. Now, the other thing that needs to be importantly said is, like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because in order to take steroids, you have to take a major risk, which is you order some shit online and you literally inject it deep inside you, in your ass or in your shoulder or whatever. That's a bit of a risk in itself, right? So maybe the idea of taking steroids draws people who are naturally more risk takers as well. So there could be multiple elements here, and I think that is an important thing to start on, to note, because I think this is important to what in the bodybuilding community. I think the bodybuilding community are people who are generally more risk takers in itself. It is kind of an extreme sport. It is an extreme sport. Even powerlifting is, bodybuilding is an extreme sport. And historically, bodybuilders have gone quite out on a limb, kind of being human guinea pigs in a lot of ways, taking all types of compounds. Taking compounds like has to do with breast cancer, Mastron, or oral anabolics, like for people that had anemia or some shit, right? And they're taking it to grow muscle. That's a bit of a risk right there. There's a lot of risk involved in that. Risk with your health. But here's the caveat of this whole situation, which is, does even doing it cause you to have even more risk? And I think there's very much something to that, which I think we need to address now. So I addressed the fact that, a high testosterone man is kind of on a more assertive, at the very least more assertive, but also can be more aggressive. And if you look at the animal kingdom, the higher testosterone, say like in chimpanzees and apes and things, that you're going to conquer the alpha male, there's a lot of risk involved in that. Because if you lose, that alpha male literally can rip your testicles off. That's what the chimps do. Okay? Or there could be death involved in many cases. But the reward is that you have the mating potential of the whole of your species. So there's a reward involved. And just like in business, there has to be risks involved to get reward. And also the animal kingdom, there has to be risks, like to jump out of the nest and fly like birds, right? Because if you don't, you never leave the nest. And I think that metaphorically, symbolically, could be said about a lot of beta guys who never leave the nest. They never leave the parents' basement, or they never succeed, right? And they're very beta, they're very emotional, non-assertive, not getting women, etc. But when it comes to steroid use, it could elicit more of a reward system. A dopamine could be a neurotransmitter, chemical, hormonal reward system within the body, where by taking risks, there's an excitement. It's a central nervous system stimulation, and by taking rewards and taking risks and getting rewards, it kind of makes it concrete. It just like supports it. That it rewards literally the risk taking, if that makes sense. Now, just like steroids could cause aggressive behavior, but not in everybody, there could be people that this could cause it to be more of an issue than others. I very much believe. For some people who take a lot of steroids and be super chill, don't do any rewards. Other people, they were totally beta their whole life, they take steroids and all of a sudden they're driving a sports bike, changes their whole persona, and it could potentially have risks involved in the fact that you're kind of in unknown territory, you're kind of going out on a limb, too much risks, right? And when it comes down to, like, a metaphor for that is like, you have to take risk when you go out on a limb to say get that fruit, but if you go too far out on the limb, it gets a little thin, right? And then the branch snaps, and you fall to your ass. It's kind of the story of Icarus. He kind of flew too close to the sun. Okay. But when it comes down to the whole male dominance hierarchy and things, we like to outshine other males. We like to, project our achievements and things on social media and whatever else. And in doing so, we might take more risks involved. But again, the risk in itself might not necessarily be maladaptive. It could actually be beneficial. And I believe that's why, like with anything, homeostatic balance, you find the balance of the hormonal use you're taking, so you don't go out on them. You're not doing compounds that affect your psychology negatively. So it's like you mitigate the risks while getting a reward through steroid use. And part of the risks that you could take in some steroid you take, like Trembolone, is potentially negative. So I'll just sum this up now. I could talk about a few more other things, but I just want to throw these points out there that steroid use isn't necessarily going to cause bad decision making or bad risk taking, but there's certain drives integrated in it that could exacerbate it. So, and in taking steroids draws people who generally take more risks. I think that people don't take risks. I've seen it for myself, weightlifters and things who could take steroids, but they don't because they're not risk takers. And guys, because they're just like natural, they want to stay that, they don't want to take that risk involved, and that's totally fine. And other people who are like, yeah, I want to take the risk for the reward of the, to be honest myself, to a degree, and it has been a reward. But again, it's about mitigating the risk. In doing so, being mindful about things like this, that you're not going to fall victim of yourself, of your own mind, to take unnecessary risks. You take calculated risks, but not unnecessary ones. Is this something that makes sense to people? Again, I just want to throw it out there because I don't hear anybody talking about this. And I'm just here starting a conversation, and to be honest, there's certain threads I can go on this topic with, but I want to keep it simple. Right now, under 9-10 minutes. And so what are you guys' thoughts? Did I make some sense here? Did I not make sense? Is there something you would like me to elaborate on? Please leave in the comments section below. Thanks, guys, for watching. Peace.